We got some big news out of the Department of Justice and the White House related to the Second Amendment. What if I told you that President Donald Trump just took action to increase the speed and lower the cost for carry permits in Washington, D.C.? What if I told you that the Department of Justice just launched a full-scale investigation into Los Angeles County, not for crime, not for corruption, but for violating the Second Amendment rights of everyday Americans like you and I? This is not a drill, this is real, and it could be the first dominoes to fall in a nationwide reckoning for anti-gun states like California and others. I also want to tell you about a big, we support the Second Amendment, but situation, because I wouldn't be honest with you if I didn't tell you both sides of the coin. Stick around because I'm going to break down exactly what this investigation means, why it's happening now, and how it could reshape the Second Amendment fight across the country. But before I dive in, make sure you subscribe to the channel and have that bell notification turned on so that you never miss breaking Second Amendment news like this. And a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Blackout Coffee. Real, unapologetic, patriotic coffee made by Americans who love this country and the Constitution as much as you and I do. Grab a bag and support freedom with every single sip. Link is down below, blackoutcoffee.com/GNG. All right, let's get into this. The U.S. Department of Justice dropped a bombshell. They're launching what's called a pattern or practice investigation into Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. Why? Because there's strong reason to believe that they've been systematically depriving law-abiding citizens of their Second Amendment rights. At the heart of this, massive delays, some stretching out to 18 months or more, just to process a concealed handgun license application. Let that sink in. You're a law-abiding citizen in Los Angeles County, you follow the law, you fill out their paperwork, and then you're forced to wait a year and a half, if not longer, before you're even considered for a concealed carry permit. Remember, a right delayed is a right denied. That's not just bureaucratic nonsense. According to the Department of Justice, that's a potential violation of your constitutional rights. It's not potential, it is a violation. And this isn't just political posturing, there's actual legal precedent behind it. In a recent federal court decision, a judge stated the law and facts clearly favored two plaintiffs who were victims of those outrageous 18-month delays. The court acknowledged that these kinds of holdups aren't just inconvenient, they're an unconstitutional burden on the right to bear arms. And guess what? The Department of Justice now suspects those two people are just the tip of the iceberg. There may be thousands of Los Angeles County residents being quietly denied their Second Amendment rights through a mix of bureaucracy, delay, and outright resistance from local officials. Now let's zoom out a little bit. The Department of Justice didn't just stop with Los Angeles. They're calling out California as a whole, saying the state has been one of the worst offenders when it comes to resisting recent Supreme Court rulings that reaffirm and strengthen the Second Amendment. Instead of following the law, California's answer? Pass more anti-gun legislation and impose new layers of restrictions, expensive fees, red tape, and endless delays. Some localities are even going beyond state law, making it practically impossible for ordinary citizens to legally carry a firearm. But this time, the Department of Justice isn't backing down. Here's what U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi had to say. She said, quote, "The Second Amendment is not a second-class right, and under my watch, the department will actively enforce the Second Amendment just like it actively enforces other fundamental constitutional rights," end quote. I'll let that sink in. And also keep in mind the Florida stuff with Pam Bondi. I'm staying optimistic here, but she does have a pattern that she's flipped 180 degrees from. So which was the real Pam Bondi, I guess. Now, for the first time in a long time, we have a Department of Justice leadership that's treating the Second Amendment the way that it was intended, at least on paper so far, as a core constitutional freedom, not political afterthought. Now, Bondi made it clear this isn't a one-off. If local governments across California or any other state think they can ignore the Constitution there next. However, remember I told you about the we support the Second Amendment but issue? Well, yesterday, the same Department of Justice argued in court that U.S. Navy member Tate Adamiak should remain in prison for 20 years because of his legally imported and legally owned parts and memorabilia were readily convertible into guns despite them having to bring the parts to an actual weapons manufacturing facility run by professional gun makers to actually make these function, meaning the average cat couldn't do it, so they're not really readily convertible, are they? So Pam Bondi, you need to reel in this issue real fast. And then there's the whole CRS firearm situation where he is rotting in federal prison over metal cards that had drawings of lightning links on them. Again, in that case, the feds had to manipulate the items over and over to make them function, meaning the average cat couldn't do it, so they're not readily convertible machine guns. Back to California for a second. This investigation into Los Angeles County is just the beginning. We could be seeing a wave of federal actions, lawsuits, investigations, maybe even court orders against states and counties that are willfully denying people their right to bear arms. And it's not just about California. If your state or county is using delays, fees, or may issue policies to discourage concealed carry, the Department of Justice is watching. We're looking at you, Massachusetts, New York, Washington, Colorado, Illinois, Connecticut, Hawaii, and the rest of the anti-gun states. It's long overdue. Now, this could be a major win for the Second Amendment, if they follow through, the Department of Justice that is, and a warning shot to anti-gun politicians everywhere. Then I told you that the president took action. Well, yesterday there was another executive order that had to do with the safety of Washington, D.C., and part of that is this section right here, V. Victor, where he is going to speed up and lower the cost, speed up the process and lower the cost for concealed carry permits so that people in the district can have their Second Amendment rights and protect themselves. So if you guys value your rights, you need to stay informed. And that's why I do what I do here on Guns and Gadgets. And that's why you need to be subscribed to the channel so that you never ever miss an attempt to strike our rights from the record. But we don't get our rights from government. Most people know that. Smash that like button, share this video, and drop a comment down below what you think about this scenario. Are you in a county? Are you in a state that makes it nearly impossible to get a carry permit? Sound off down below. Let us know. Why? Because the Department of Justice has been watching my videos, and I got that from a really good source. So if they're going to watch the videos, maybe they should read the comments and find out who needs help. So sound off down below. Don't forget to support Blackout Coffee, the sponsor of the video, where every bag you buy helps support Pro 2A creators like this guy and Pro 2A organizations like Second Amendment Foundation, Gun Owners of America, and Firearms Policy Coalition when you buy their coffee roasts at blackoutcoffee.com/GNG. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed, and stay free. God bless America. Take care, y'all.